Hello and welcome to SRK Chat, the first one of the year with the SSC Promotions organisers. I'm Diego, Luke, Sam,
Hello.
and this evening we're going to be talking through what we're planning for the season ahead. And we've got Castle Combe coming up next weekend. It's been a really good, really long off season. I'm ready to go. So I think we're going to just talk through a little bit in more detail, really, about who we are and what we're about, really. So. Why don't we go to Luke? You're our kind of like Paul de Resta of the group, aren't you? So who are you and what's your history?
Paul de Resta. I don't know how that works out. But yeah, my name's Luke. I run the kart track at Castle Combe. And I've been involved in racing for pretty much all my life. And I started off in rental karting, progressed through into national karting racing in TKM, and I now race cars in Formula Fords all over the country.
Very nice. And I'm Diego. I work at Team Sport. I'm a manager there. So my background's mainly indoor karting, but actually the only outdoor karting I've done is this and BUKC about 10 years ago. So yeah, not that much experience outdoors. So I guess I'm Martin Brundle, and Sam, you're David Croft, whatever his name is, because you got the job that no one likes you and you're there because who knows.
Yeah. So I guess we'll come to me now on my background, or are you just going to leave me out?
No, I just wanted to insult you.
So my first ever job, actually, when I was 16, was at Team Sport Bristol with Diego. Diego actually trained me because he's a few years older. And moved into... That's probably why there's so many things wrong with me now, is because you trained me at an early age.
I'm to blame.
Yeah. And I've sort of dipped in and out of indoor karting as an organizer and a manager, and not doing that as my career anymore, so I'm doing this.
Nice, very nice. So SRK Chat is our kind of discussion social. We'll be doing one of these after every race this season where we can. It will be on not the Monday directly after the race. It will be the week after on the Monday. So we've got plenty of time to compile all the clips. So we very much encourage headcams at venues that can have headcams. And if you've got any footage, please get it over to us as quickly as you can after the event using WeTransfer. So just in case people don't know what the season looks like, here's the calendar for the year. So Luke, which ones are you looking forward to this year? What are you looking forward to?
I've never been to the Thruxton kart circuit, so it's good to welcome them to the calendar. So I'm looking forward to that one. I missed Bayford last year, so I'm looking forward to going there this year. And Buckmore is an awesome track, so always love going there.
Nice. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I think Exeter Indoor Karting Challenge is an exciting one, being that it's an all-day event, special trophies. Kind of just feels like a big event within a whole championship. I'm quite excited for that one. But Buckmore, it's nice to have that back on the calendar. And Bayford in the wet. I hope it rains on that round, because that was my favourite round last year.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to Three Sisters, actually. I really like that track. That was cool. It was a nice night away. And we're actually racing under floodlights this year as well. It's just an evening event, so that'd be cool. So that's that. So first one next weekend at Castle Combe. It is sold out at the moment. We are going to be having one extra driver join us from winning the competition, which we'll be announcing at the end of Search Chat today. And as we've been booking this for a while, there will inevitably be a couple of dropouts just because people's plans change. So if you are still interested, just put yourself on the entry form at bit.ly/SRK2022 entry, and we'll contact you if we get spaces first. But what we're going to do now is look ahead to Combe, and we've got a nice graphic here that I'm going to really awkwardly pull up, which is from one of our drivers called Mark O'Grady, and he's got a very nice F1 style track map graphic. Look at this. So Luke, why don't you tell us a bit about the history of Castle Combe?
So the Castle Combe has juniors and adult championships. It's based on the circuit. It's in the grounds of Castle Combe Circuit, which is a race track. And it's had junior and adult championships for lots of years. And we've had lots of drivers from Jamie Chadwick and her brother Ollie and lots of others progress through the championships at Castle Combe and use it as a good training ground to progress up through the ranks in racing.
Yeah, nice. So Mark's planning to do this for all of their races this year. So I think you all agree it's looking very nice. You can see all of his information on Driver 22 YouTube, I believe. He sent me the master file, but my computer's too crap to play it. So that's why we're watching it on YouTube.
That's amazing for him to do this for us as well. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Right, okay, so we're going to go straight ahead to an onboard lap. And Sam, as a champion of Coombe before, you're going to talk this through, I believe. Did you win Coombe before, Sam? You did something there, didn't you?
2021, yeah. I think it was 2020, sorry, 2020.
Cool. So this is from Oli Bayani, who may have he has joined us in the past. He'll be racing with us at round 1 as well. So Sam, why don't you talk us through a lap of Castle Coombe?
Yeah, you want to let it play first and then replay it after?
Oh, all right.
Well,
I gave you one job. All you got to do is talk through that. Right.
well, I think the main thing is actually waiting for the start line come again.
I'm just going to play the video again because this is one lap. I didn't plan very well here.
It goes pretty quickly. You got to give me some time. Maybe slow it down a bit.
You are getting old.
There's the starting line now. So
I'm just going to restart
lap record already. It's quick.
Right, I'm going to slow it down, pal, because
slow it down for me. Will you?
I'll give you 0.75. All right, go on then. Talk us through this.
Well, here we go. So he's crossing the line just here. So this is the grid, and you pull a little bit to the left. You hard brake, turn in, stay over to the left, avoid hitting the barrier, and then you come in to the right. This is kind of a chicane leading onto a straight. So you want a good exit on here, keeping it to the right. Let it pull you naturally to the left. A little tuck to the left, brake, turn in, stay tight, go over to the left, come over to the right, back over to the left, a nice S shape, and then another chicane. So coming in tight. Again there, middle of the track here, hold it left, and then nice right turn, and then naturally about 2/3 of the way across the line.
Good. So it's a very quick lap. It's a very tight circuit as well. So it's going to be an interesting round for lots of people that haven't driven this sort of thing before. And one of the things that may happen that may not have happened before to anyone is it may rain. And we do run in the wet, and we've got a wet lap to watch as well. So, Luke, you're very good in the wet, aren't you? So why don't you tell us all about this lap? I'll put it at 0.75 again. You talk us through this one, Luke. How it's different.
Yeah, so generally in the wet, what you want to be trying to do is take much wider lines into the corners and really trying to find the grip. So into the first corner here, you go really deep into the corner, right out towards the outside barrier, find that grip on the exit, and just try and get a good exit out of the corners, pick up the traction. And then through the chicane, you really want to focus on getting a good exit. So you follow the barrier around to the right and make sure you can get a good exit out of it without getting too much wheel spin. It's very easy to follow more of a dry line there and pick up too much wheel spin and really get stuck on the exit. Then into the top corner here, you want to be aiming to go really deep into the corner, right out towards the outside barrier. And then again, focus on getting a good exit so you can get that traction on the exit to carry more speed. This corner is really difficult because there's not really a good line through it, as you have to drive over the dry parts of it. But you want to try and make sure you get a good exit, not overshoot it. And then again, try and take wide lines through these last couple of corners to make sure you can get a good exit to go across the start-finish line.
It is like absolutely absurd how different that line is, isn't it? Like it looks like he's doing it wrong by going up to the barrier here, but that is right. I mean, look how wide he is there. Like you would never ever go there in the dry. And then when you get back up the hill, it's the same again. Like he's just, it literally looks like he's just forgotten to turn. He's going all the way up to the barrier there. And one thing
it looks like a panic drive, doesn't it? But that is the line, and I think the best way to really advise how to drive in the wet is to do the opposite of what you would do in the dry.
Yeah.
You almost, when you go in tight in the wet, you go out wide, and you avoid that racing line because that's where the natural rubber is settled on the tarmac. And if you're driving over that rubbered tarmac in the wet, that's where you're going to slide the most. So you want to avoid those areas and drive around them.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it's just very different. And it always rains at Castle Coombe. Like I say, like 90% of the time I've been there, it rains. It's like it's in like a monsoon season or something. All right. So the other thing we're going to talk about on this track is the overtaking points because of how tight it is. It is a very difficult track to pass on. So Sam, as someone that raced there and passed a lot of people there, where would you say the best places are to pass? And I'll find it on the video for you.
Yeah, I mean down the top of the straight. So that's the obvious one.
Up here.
Just here. So ideally you want to be at this point directly behind them.
Yeah.
And then as you do reach the top of the straight, you'll see Ben in front will pull to the left, and if you're right behind him, you would go straight in to the right. And you would just send it on the inside right there. And a secondary overtaking space is actually right here. So if you're again right behind as they pull left, you can send it right here. I will say, though, that if you squeeze them on the exit into that wall on the left there, if you're still side by side, you will get a penalty. So that is a harder place to pass. All the way through here, there's no really way to pass. I'd say you stick behind. And then the next one is right here.
Sorry, let's get back there.
That's all right. So yeah, the third and final place would be if you're right behind someone here, they go left, you go right. And I'd say realistically, those are your 3 overtaking spots.
Can you pass in the chicane, Luke, this bit?
Yes, if the driver's defending to the first corner, you can get a good exit, but you really need to make sure that you're alongside before you go into the chicane. You can't try and make a move partway through it. You've got to make sure you're at least 3/4 of the way alongside.
It is very much a switcheroo, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can't make that move happen on that down the bottom section, if they go in tight and defend, you can take the line normally, wait for them to go out too wide and just get alongside, and then going into the chicane, you have the right of way.
Yeah. Would you say there is any corners where you can't overtake?
The one down the hill, just before you come across the start-finish line, is one that a lot of people kind of stick their nose in because the natural line is to go a little bit wider.
That's this
so
one
this
coming
corner
up
here, yeah. The natural line is to go a little bit more to the right, and sometimes people just stick their nose up there, and unless the other person's got an absolutely terrible exit out of the previous corner, you're never going to have the momentum to get past there because you can keep it flat the whole way down, and if you try and make a move there, a lot of the times it'll just end up in an accident.
Well, even if you get alongside, they have right of way, and it's just wasted both your time. It's just not a place I would ever attempt one.
Nice. Yeah, cool. Well, that's Castle Combe. That's next weekend. So, as I said, the main event sold out. I completely forgot the juniors as well. That is, I think, maybe like 70-80% full at the moment. They're like on their last season pass now, and then we've got a full grid for them for the season. And at the risk of having a little bit of panic, we are 80% sold for every single round on top of that as well in the adults. So that's everything full. Anyway, yeah, so we wanted to just kind of go through a couple of things that we're running, I guess, in the rulebook this year. We'll go through it again in the briefing on the day, but just in case we've got a few people that weren't clear on everything, the formats that we're doing. So we've got 3 different formats that we run across this season, but really we're only running one for the bulk of it, and that's called Sprint Plus, which is a practice session, 3 heat races, and a final. So the heat races... Luke, do you know how the grids are formed for the heat races roughly?
So everyone gets 3 heats. They each get to start front, middle, and back, and that'll be mixed up between everyone's races. It will try to do it so you race against different people in each of the races. But it'll very much depend on the track capacity for how many karts they can have and the number of drivers we have entered for the events.
Yeah, and in the finals, the winner of each race will go to the back of the next final. And it will just be the one that progresses. We have a format called Sprint, which is just at Brighton at the moment, which means we're only doing 2 heats there, but we are trying to get to 3. So it may be that we don't have that format. And then the other format we have called Sprint Indoor, which is the same practice 3 heats final, but you have a pit stop, and that's at Race World. So just Race World, the first part of the SRK Indoor Challenge is going to be like that. The second part, when we do the reverse circuit, is not going to have the pit stops because the pit entry is unsuitable that way. But that would be just at that round. And the classes that we run, I assume everyone's aware of those already, but the SRK 1 weighted pro with 80 kilos, SRK weighted AM, SRK 2 weighted AM, 80 kilos as well. You are expected to weigh up to that if you're below. If you're in SRK 3 open, you don't have to weigh up, but you don't score any points. You're kind of like a guest driver. And I should mention as well, at the first round, because we've got so many people joining us, if someone genuinely doesn't understand what's going on with the weighting and hasn't managed to do it, we will just drop you down to the SRK 3 class for that round, but we will expect you to get it up for the next round at Herefordshire. And don't forget, we're this week I'm going to go get some lead for everyone that has filled out the lead request form. So if you want to pick up some lead for you, come and let me know. And the other thing between 1 and 2 class is after round 2, we will have, I guess it's called like a reallocation period, where if somebody is obviously in the wrong class, we will reclassify you at that point. So say someone in the AM class is miles and miles ahead after round 2 at Herefordshire, we'll just move them into the pro class because the points are transferable between those classes. But we may find at round 1 at Coombe, there are a couple of people that are obviously well ahead of the field, and they may find themselves being allocated after practice. But we'll try and be lenient where we can on that one. So, as I said earlier, you are expected to weigh up in this championship. So, Sam, do you want to talk a little bit about how you exactly weigh up?
Yeah, of course. So the general feel is that you provide your own weights that you have to safely put within oneself or a seat into the cart. You can't have any loose dumbbells or anything that are going to fall out of the cart whilst you're racing. So I think the general feel is that people buy the rubber seat inserts that you can get at almost any go-kart track, and you can cut sections of the rubber foam out of it, replace it with lead, just duct tape it, and there you go. There's your weight. Alternatively, people just bring a strip of 5 kilograms of lead, and then they use the rubber seat insert provided by the track, and they just slot it down the back. As long as it's safely secure, it's not damaging the carts, then you're good to go. And if you have any questions, queries, or you need lead, any help with it, then just give us a shout. But sheets of lead is generally that, and duct tape your best friend when it comes to weighting.
And they're the ones that I'm picking up on the form. So I'm going to go get some lead that gets hammered down into a sheet. So a few people had that last year. Cool. So yeah, any questions with that, just shoot us an email or drop us a message on Facebook. We've still got time to sort it before the first race. So one of the things that we had in the rule book that got kind of updated, I guess, in the second iteration was the driver licenses. So we are going to be a bit more, I guess, strict on driver licenses this year. So we've got all of the different reasons why you would get penalties in the rule book, so make sure you check that out. It's pinned in the Facebook group, and you are able to get 12 penalty points before you get a points deduction within the championship, and that points deduction is 100 points. Bearing in mind that
the end, isn't it? It's not droppable. Yeah.
So it's a big penalty, and the reason why we've got that is because we're trying to deter multiple penalties throughout the season. So bearing in mind that you're going to get 3 penalty points for like a big contact during an event. So you've got 4 chances across the season. We saw maybe I'd say 90% of the drivers last season got 0 black and white. So it shouldn't be a problem. But we just want to make sure that that people aren't, just taking it too seriously and smashing people out of the way. Is that what you'd say about that, Sam?
Yeah, I suppose just to kind of clarify, the 3 points is kind of like a minor incident. So at round 1, if you accidentally take someone out and you get a black and white penalty, during the race, the day itself, the track will apply the relevant penalty, but your license will also incur 3 points. And obviously, as long as you don't make loads of mistakes throughout the championship, you'll be okay. Realistically, you could take 3 people out in the championship and not receive that points deduction, but obviously depending on the severity of it is how many points on your license you get. If the track gives you a black flag for quite a serious incident, you could be looking at 6 points or up to 12 points, depending on how bad it is. But I think, Diego has said, the main reason is we don't want people to be repeat offenders. If you're going to be going for the odd move, which is, borderline every single time, then you're going to rack up those points very quickly.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. That is the first time we've had that rule that strict. So if it needs reviewing, then so be it. And we have been actively trying to get a race director throughout the season, which we're kind of falling up short at the moment. So Luke, you've got kind of a proposal that we're going to be looking at. So what have you been looking at for that?
Yeah, so I've been talking to a Motorsport UK steward that we are hoping to get on board, but that nothing's confirmed on that. So alternatively, we're looking at potentially having a representative from each of the teams in the championship to effectively be overseeing the races. We've got observers that can help the tracks make decisions on anything that they might miss out.
Yeah, and to be honest, observers are going to be me and you in a lot of these instances, me and you, Luke. So because we're both very impartial. I'd rather run a higher quality championship than win anyway. So yeah, that is what it is. This is part of the championship that we're running. So yeah, we'll look at that again throughout the year. So the heat points have been updated as well in the rule book. So we are scoring points for the heat results as well now, which is going to mean that you can pick up, I think it's 30 points or 20 or 30 points for a win in a heat, 300 points for winning the final. So just little extra bits here and there. And there are like slightly different point systems at different rounds just based on the amount of carts we have on track. But that overall championship is best 6 of 9 results. And you've got to be at that final to be eligible for the prize. One thing that a couple of people that are obviously quite happy about is that you are still allocated overall in the championship if you miss the final, but you aren't eligible for the prizes. So I know sometimes things come up, but we will be a bit more lenient on that this year. But hopefully that we won't come to that. Because we were in a situation last year where, Sam, you'd basically won it. And we were like, wow, if you get COVID today, then you lose. You know, which is ridiculous. But we've got it. The reason we do it is because we want everybody there for the final, basically. Otherwise, it's just a hollow win.
Empty podium presentation. And yeah.
And a couple of sub trophies this year as well. So we've got the Southwest Trophy, which is rounds 3, 4, and 5, which is 2 Racewell rounds and Thruxton. And we've got the Southeast Trophy, which is the 3 Kent rounds at the end of the championship. And that's primarily based at the AM class. But we do, and you get £75 for winning that in each of those ones. But we have a trophy for the winner in the pro class at those 2 as well. And that's because if somebody enters the AM class at those rounds that we've never met, and you turn up and you're really good, suddenly we're like, oh, well, we got to put you somewhere, you know. But that mightn't happen anyway. And the teams championship, which is a lot of fun as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go throughout the year. But most people have been allocated into a team, and there will be a couple of rookies teams being made after the first round as well. And the Pro Am Championship is also part of that, where if you've only got one pro driver in your team, you're eligible for a separate thing. Right. And the other thing we've got is the prizes, which apparently I'm supposed to talk about, but I thought it'd be funnier to make you guys sweat on it. So, Sam, you know all about the prizes, don't you? So, nervous laugh.
Let me get a reference.
Right. Yeah. So how much do you get for winning? Go on.
For winning Circ 1 Pro Class, you win £500. And there's more, I believe. Although you're going to tell me more. Free entry to BRKC 2023 now, as it will be for next year's. I think that's it.
Is there anything else you win?
There might be something that Luke is working on.
Yeah, we've also got a prize from Castle Combe Race Circuit, where they've given us a prize as a track day on one of their events as well. So someone will be winning that prize through the championship as well.
Nice. Yeah, we'll put a bit more info about that soon, and we're working on some big prizes for next year as well. Good.
That's good to mention as well that the Indoor Karting Challenge round 3 and 4 at Exeter has its own standalone prize of £200.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that actually, and we got like some decent trophies as well for the winner, I think.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to say. I'm going to keep that as a secret.
Okay. Well, some different trophies. We're not doing the track map trophies of that, because the way that runs is because it's such a long day. The morning is kind of like round 3 of Circ, then the afternoon is round 4 of Circ, and then there's an extra part at the end of the day, which is the indoor challenge, kind of like super final, which is kind of not technically championship for Circ, but it is for that one day event. So it's like you said earlier, like a race within a race. So that's cool. Right. Okay. So let's decide this competition winner, shall we? Because I know everyone's probably fallen asleep by now.
Is this your Wheel of Fortune?
My Wheel of Fortune. Ooh.
This is going to be terrible. I know it.
No, it's just a regular wheel.
That's all right. That's better than I thought.
It's fine. And thank you to all the people that entered. Not thank you to all the people that didn't do a public share, because I can't see your entry, so I want to give this away, but I can't to half of you. All right. Anyway, so Sam, do you want to spin the wheel? Oh, he did it! Yeah.
Who's it gonna be?
Oh, it's Graham.
Hey, Graham Miller.
So yeah, Graham obviously, well, I assume isn't going to race himself, but he will be welcome. But he's on behalf of Sebastian, who's already entered, so he'll delegate his entry to somebody else. And if he doesn't want that, we'll do another spin at some point. Yeah, cool. So that's the winner. Well done to Graham. We might do a few more giveaways throughout the year, actually, because that's a lot of fun. Cool. Yeah. So last couple of things really for Search Chat tonight. We're hoping to up the promotion a little bit this year. So we're going to be using the official hashtag SRK Championship. So if you're putting videos up on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or I don't know if people put things up on TikTok. I don't know how that works, but anything like that, just hashtag SRK Championship, because then that helps us promote it to everybody else. And in the individual rounds, please use hashtag SRK Castle Combe, hashtag SRK Herefordshire, etc., etc. And we'll put that up before each event. And finally, just a quick note about our season sponsor, Cycle Solutions. So we'll have a bit more information about that at the next round. But they're going to be, well, they are our sponsor for the season. So thanks to them for helping us out. They are, again, I'm still learning, but they are recovery and disposal of IT assets. So basically, like motherboards and items within computers and stuff like that can be stripped.
Safe disposal of info, isn't it? So if you run a business and you need to dispose of old equipment which may have sensitive data, GDPR and all that jazz, yeah, get in touch because he can help you do it safely.
Well, I think it does that. You might be wrong there, actually, but it's something like that.
It is safe disposal of information and via technological items, right? That's what he does.
We're crap at this
now. Have a chat with him when you see him at the rounds, because he'll tell you a bit more about it, and that's the main thing, really.
Yeah, right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so it should be a really big year for this. I'm really excited. Season 4, hopefully on to bigger and better things. In particular, the extra events that we have in the pipeline, I'm very excited about, so I'll be announcing that soon. But other than that, I think that's pretty much for us tonight. So, Luke, have you got anything to add before we start? Or finish, I should say?
No, I don't think so.
Good. And Sam?
Yep, all good. See you at round 1.
Yeah, man. I'll see everyone at round 1. Good luck. If I don't see you before then, see you next weekend. Bye-bye.
See you later.